What's that? Did you hear that? I swear to God, this place is fucking haunted. Man, it's been a while since I've reviewed any movie. I think the last movie I reviewed was The Cabin in the Woods, and that was back when that movie was fresh in theaters, so I might be a bit rusty. Just bear with me. We're doing a doubleheader episode this week, starting with I Am a Ghost from director H.P. Mendoza, and then I'm going to follow that up with a look at the pilot episode of Hemlock Grove, the new Netflix original series that launched this week. Last week for you guys. I don't know, I'm traveling through time. Here comes some fucking slack. Originally I was going to do a review of the new Ghost album, something, which is awesome. Then I saw Netflix put up Hemlock Grove, and I saw the episode and said, fuck that, I gotta do this. So, the new Ghost album is awesome. Get it, I'll link to it in iTunes. It's the shit, yo. Now on with the show. I'm a Ghost is about Emily. She's a ghost in Victorian drag. She haunts a large Victorian house. She exists out of time, though. There's never really any sort of sense of flow to her routine. So she goes through this routine out of order, just all the time, and is never fully aware that she's actually a ghost. The silence of Emily's routine is occasionally broken by the voice of Sylvia, who is a psychic medium that lives with the family that currently owns the house. And Sylvia's mission is to help Emily cross over, but there are complications. Sylvia can only do so much, and Emily can only remember so much at any given time. And plus, Emily leaving the house is tied to a second, much more darker presence in the house. I Am a Ghost is a really good idea that's weighed down by some very clumsy, clunky moving parts. Director Mendoza and lead actress Anna Ishida have made what is essentially a very avant-garde one-woman show in this movie. It exists in a horror space with some very well-established ground rules. There's not a whole lot of room for innovation when it comes to haunted house movies. And if there's one thing that I can say in the movie's defense, it's that it's a real original. I've never seen anything like this movie. However, it is weighed down by the usual problems that tend to dog low-budget movies, in that the writing is a little bit hokey, which leads to a bit of hokey acting, which leads to a bit of eye-rolling on the part of the viewer. But the movie's biggest problem is that it's really long for a film that's only 76 minutes. And what I mean by that is, as lean as that is for a feature film, this is actually a short film in disguise. It tends to wear out its welcome by the halfway. Negative criticisms aside, I lived to discover movies like I Am a Ghost. I mean, watching this was a revelation. For all of its narrative shortcomings, H.P. Mendoza's craft of making a movie is an awesome thing to look at. I'm a Ghost is a beautiful movie. Mendoza's gone out of his way to make every scene as claustrophobic as possible. The house that Emily seems to exist in is supposed to be very big, but every scene is so packed with stuff, so tightly, densely crammed with things, that every scene seems to be closing in on Emily. There's also a sort of forced perspective going on, where everything in the foreground seems to be quite wide, and it all shrinks to a point off in the near distance. The bedroom, Emily's bedroom in particular, which you see several times throughout the movie, is shot like this. It's beautiful. Even Emily's dress, this Victorian gown, seems to contain her. Everything is closing in around her. It fills you with anxiety, and ordinarily that would be a bad thing, but movies are really supposed to evoke feelings and sensations, and I Am a Ghost does a really great job of that. And even if I Am a Ghost sags in the middle big time, the ending, the conclusion, the entire third act is fairly sharp and very intense. You'll also be hard-pressed to find a movie about a haunted house where a psychic medium plays therapist to the ghost haunting the place. I'm a Ghost is not likely to be the next Paranormal Activity, but it serves as a major calling card for the director H.P. Mendoza, in that it proves that creativity in horror is not dead. So next up we have Hemlock Grove, which is a new original series which is exclusive to Netflix subscribers. And it seems like everybody's coming up with original programming these days. It's very important if you're a cable network or a media provider of any kind. I mean, everybody's got it. HBO and Showtime have shows that are extraordinarily popular. Even Amazon Prime. Starz has Spartacus and Magic City, and Amazon Prime just launched Zombieland, which I haven't seen too much about, but that which I have seen doesn't exactly move me. So Netflix finally got in on it. Well, Netflix actually originally had House of Cards, which was the series with Kevin Spacey. And they also have Arrested Development coming up, which seems like it's been in the Netflix pipe forever. But Hemlock Grove came out of nowhere and took me completely by surprise. Horror fans are a pretty dedicated lot, and when you attach a name, a genre favorite name, like Eli Roth to a project, you're going to see a lot of fans flocking to Netflix. If they don't already have subscriptions, they're going to get a subscription. Mind you, the entire series, the first season, is available on Netflix right now, so it's not like you got to wait for a new episode of Walking Dead. There's no mid-season breaks. There's no anything. I mean, you can watch the whole thing. You can binge through an entire season of this show, as people are wont to do with TV series on Netflix. Mind you, this review, however, is just for the pilot episode. Hemlock Grove is about a murder that takes place in a town in Pennsylvania bearing the series' name. A teenage girl is torn to pieces by a presumably massive but unseen predator. And naturally, the entire town is rocked by this. And caught up in the mystery is Roman Godfrey, who is the son of a local steel magnate, whose company seems to be involved in some kind of mysterious science project. It's never really made clear in the episode. Also on the fringe of this mystery is Peter Romanchik, who is a gypsy kid, who sort of rolls into town with his mother, who's also a gypsy, and they're living in the trailer of her uncle, or his uncle, who recently died. And then sort of floating around the periphery is a host of other characters, and everybody's got a secret, obviously. The Godfreys, for as wealthy as they are, they've got their own secret, in that Roman's sister is this like monstrous teenager who is really huge in a sort of Frankenstein sort of way. And she has her own secret, which is seriously fucked up and awesome. It's hard to judge any TV series by its pilot episode. It would actually be a really stupid thing to do. But even if the rest of the season sucked, this is quite a pilot. I mean, this episode, this premiere episode, makes quite an impression. It's everything that a pilot should be. It has a very eerie setting. It really brings to mind the setting of a Stephen King novel or Twin Peaks. There's also not a likable character in the cast. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, everybody is flawed in a fatal sort of way, but it's all very interesting. And everybody seems to have a sort of hanging plot thread right off the bat. And they all seem to be going in very interesting directions. The teaser that hit a little while back, the one that they really kind of used to announce the show, which was a werewolf transformation scene, left me cold. Some really lousy visual effects just killed it for me. But the practical special effects of the show were done by Greg Nicotero, who, if you're new to horror, he's the mastermind behind all the gore on The Walking Dead, and he goes back to some of George Romero's stuff and onward. I mean, the guy is kind of a legend right now. A little bit of lousy acting, but if the show keeps on with this parade of the weird and the perverted, I mean, you can count me in. I mean, it makes quite an impression. It's a highly enjoyable hour of television. So if you're looking for a place to devote some of your spare time to, you can't go wrong. So that's it. H.P. Mendoza's I Am a Ghost and Netflix original Hemlock Grove. 2 spooky products you can count on. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to my friends R.E.K. and his lovely companion Smash at the We Gotta Tell You podcast. They gave me some nice words about the premiere episode of this show, so I'm going to tell you to go and check out the podcast. It's on iTunes. I'll link to it in the description like I do with everything. I'm also going to put the trailer for I Am a Ghost down there and whatever media I can dig up from Hemlock Grove. So I'll see you next Friday, and in the meantime, don't take any wooden nickels.